Here we are at Mitchell Field in Holyoke, Massachusetts. Mitchell Field was named after a person named Edwin Mitchell. And he had gone off to World War I. He had loved sports in Holyoke, but when he went off to France to fight for his country, he died in France from wounds from gunshot. And so they ended up naming this field after him. But that was in 1933, got named after him. This field was started much earlier. It was started to be an extension of Pulaski Park. It was started in 1914 when Pulaski Park was called Prospect Park. And so this field in the beginning was Prospect Athletic Field. And that was in 1914. 19 years later, it was named, of course, after Edwin Mitchell, Mitchell Field. It's mostly for a baseball field. At one time, it also had a football field used for freshman football. And we're looking at the side close to the curve or the roadie in Holyoke. Now, very peculiar, in 1958, when they built the Muller Bridge, they had to cut out some of the land back here. And so anything that's on the curved portion of this rotary back towards Hampton Street used to be part of the field. And thus, the baseball field got cut up. And actually, this baseball diamond back here was from 1962 when they reopened this field after using it for staging area from Muller Bridge. This area became the new baseball field. It was moved forward compared to the other field, and you can see center field was too close, so they had to raise that center field to height. It's probably about 13 feet high. They had to do that because there's too many home runs being hit. Now, very strangely, there used to be a street out in the outfield. And that street in the outfield was a street called Prospect Street. Prospect Street came from old Pulaski Park, Prospect Park. It came along that park, crossed right up here where the end of Beach Street used to be, and came right at approximately where the fence is out there in the outfield, and then came up to the end of the rotary on the other side of Hampton Field. That's an incredible fact. Now, the baseball field at that point wasn't where it is now, so we're going to show you where that baseball field was. But this outer park, when it was the outfield of the old park, had a stone wall around it. So this chain link fence used to be a stone wall around here, and so you'd have everything very, very, very different in the past. And people find that incredible, but there's one point of evidence left, and we're going to see that. So we're going to pause for a minute and pause.
Yeah. You want to keep a pause?
Yeah.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, now the backstop here is made out of masonry. Look at the pieces of stone all blended together with cement. This was the original 1914 backstop. It's still there, even though it's 109 years older. They could actually use it if they wanted to, but the baseball diamond has changed its stance and now comes from the east, heads to the west. It used to be in the west and head towards the east. And it wasn't until 1958 they stopped its direction being that way, and they redid the direction because the Muller Bridge was coming in. So this was a baseball field going this way. And look at where the stone bleachers are. The stone bleachers mostly are oriented with that masonry. These bleachers are probably put in about 1950 or so. And you see they're starting to rot by now. They never fixed them up. There's no reason to. But as you look along the bleachers, they're big on that end with many steps. And then below us is about 3 steps. And then there's 2 steps and then 1 step. So obviously the baseball field bleachers were here and they had to give up on them. So this is quite a unique field. Now, what's happened in this field is become mostly a baseball field with time. And we'll have one last shot looking at the modern baseball field. Imagine at one point there'd be the street along the outer edge where those outer trees are. And so there was no fence at one point. In 1910s, 1920s, there was no fence. And so you could have a home run or a long fly ball hit towards little cars. Well, there were very few cars around this street because there was no roading, no bridge. So there was very light traffic on it. Okay, so thanks for coming on this beautiful Mitchell Field stuff.